Have you been to my website? It's wifeotp.com. There's so much stuff there that I love, like my new merch. You can check that out. You can get information from my live show in Nashville. You can check out our book clubs. There's links to our episodes. I'm going to be starting a newsletter soon, so you can sign up for the email list and get my newsletter. So check out my website at wifeotp.com. Disappointment in a core relationship is part of life. That it is surmountable and that it's forgivable and that it is true, complete love includes that. Right?
Damn, that's a fucking bar, LeeAnn. I'm so Hollywood now.
So Hollywood? How so?
Oh, I'm just like worried about my appearance. I hang out with I don't hang out with him, but I talk to him a lot and we'll be on the internet a lot. Meghan Trainor, his brother, is like a big video gamer.
Oh yeah?
And like we just like met on the internet, and then like I've gone over to their house and hung out with their family, and then he was like talking about Meghan getting Botox. He's like, the doctor's coming over. I was like, let me come. He's like, oh dude, Meghan will be stoked. And I was like, I don't know, like I'll take like a little, like just a little cut, like a little you got like that dermabrate, like something for the acne scars.
A little bit here, a little bit there.
Never in a million years did I think I would ever be like that. But I'm like, I could make myself a little more pretty.
I've been in Hollywood long enough now. They're a fun family, aren't they?
They're so nice.
Yeah, pretty regular.
It's insane how regular they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very like, look behind the veil.
Yeah.
Like very, what's really going on? Mm-hmm. No, dude, they're a regular ass fam. The dad is so funny.
Is he?
Oh, he's hilarious. And the mom, when I went over there, it takes a little bit for me to charm you.
Yeah.
On first appearance,
Yeah.
Like you see me walking into your estate.
Yeah.
The mom was a little standoffish.
Yeah.
But she was very sweet.
That's good.
And like Meghan's kid, her son is adorable.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, he's like a little movie star. He's adorable.
Doesn't she have like a school in her attic or something? You don't know?
I don't know. They didn't bring me up to the secret.
You go up to the kiddie room? That would be creepy at all.
No.
Sorry, mom talk. I would have seen the kiddie room.
No, it was all fenced off. I mean, they have the whole backyard like fenced off, but he's just such a sweetheart. Anytime I see other people's kids, I'm like, I think I could have one.
You could totally have one. You'd be a great dad.
I hope so.
You would.
I hope so.
No. You would, for sure. You're super sensitive guy, I think.
So sensitive. So too sensitive.
Are you?
Oh.
Why do you think you're too sensitive?
Oh,
that's what makes you a good comic, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think it took me a while to like realize that vulnerability is like the key to being a good comic.
100%. Yeah.
But oh my God, I'm a crier.
Are you? Have you always been like that?
Yeah, always been like that. Always a big crier. Even when I get into fights, like I'll cry.
How funny. Was that problematic for you when you were a kid?
I mean, I never wanted to fight. It was problematic because, like, I would cry.
And when people make fun of you and stuff?
Yeah, like in like the locker room, like for hockey games, we'd lose, and I'd be like, "Come on, guys."
It's so cute, though. I think it's adorable.
I was just like, I was doing it for the drama, though.
You were?
Yeah, I feel like it was a little bit of a bit, But yeah, I'm a big crier. I'll cry like not as much. Not maybe on par with Bert. Like, how Bert will cry just at the dumbest stuff.
But so sensitive. He's also so sensitive.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, but I think they make the best comics. I really do. Because you process the world in a deeper, broader way than someone like me who just goes, yeah, he just doesn't understand. Where you go, but you don't understand what he doesn't understand.
Yeah. You got to go to the third level of it.
And I do that, but I don't take anything
You don't
personally.
strike me as a crier.
No, I'm not a crier.
You strike me as a very strong, now empathetic, sure.
Yes.
Actually, like one time, Bert was on the phone with you and, going through therapy now, he was just flooding you.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way that I do to my girlfriend, where it's like, I'm pissed off. I'm not going to tell you I'm not pissed off at you, but like, you can gauge from the things that I'm yelling about that I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, just fuck ficking, like fucking da 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 da.
Yeah.
And the way that it was like a minute and a half, just fuck ficking. You were like, I'm so sorry. Da, da, da. And it was like this empathetic thing of like, oh, I know where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of times I battle it, my girlfriend battles it, is we take that and we put that on us.
Mm-hmm.
So I take her energy, and instead of just being grounded and empathetic and open to her, I'm like, oh, she's mad at me.
Right.
Why is she mad?
Yeah.
Then I start telling myself a story. Oh, she's pissed, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of that rant, where I could be like, damn, that sucks, which is such a cool thing to hear from your partner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on your side.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, I just shut down a little bit, or I'll feel her shut down. And that's the worst thing to feel.
Totally.
Because you're like, now I have to like defend myself against my partner, when it's like, I wasn't even mad at you.
Right. It wasn't even about you.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of that comes just with maturity,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. Because I think it's just maturity, where you all of a sudden go, oh, this has nothing to do with me. And then you apply that where you go, does this have something to do with me? Okay, it doesn't. So I'm just going to listen. I'm just going to be present and listen, because that's all he ever really wants 90% of the time from me, is to just feel heard and validated, even if what he's saying is off, right?
Yeah.
So even if he's in his feelings.
Yeah.
And he's saying like, aliens are definitely coming.
Yeah.
They fucked me in the ass last night. I definitely am bleeding from my
the worst
asshole.
thing that you could do is be like, are you sure you just didn't sleep enough?
That's not true.
I don't know if aliens are here, and then you're like, fuck, why don't you ever believe me?
Yes. Sometimes you have to go, oh man, that sucks. Aliens, yeah, that's
And then maybe in a
rough.
couple hours you could be
Exactly.
give him time to be like, I don't think there were aliens.
Exactly. But the responsibility for me also in that scenario is to later go, let's talk about those aliens.
Huge.
We've calmed down.
Huge.
I can't allow you to think that I really agree that an alien came and fucked you in the ass. But I can agree with whatever was happening for you in that moment, that's what you believe. Now let's address what was really happening. Okay? So that's the responsibility you have as a partner.
I'm just like, honestly though, like if aliens were to come and fuck anybody in the ass,
it would be Bert.
it would be Bert.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it would be Bert.
It would totally be Bert.
It would totally be Bert. Would be the guy that got fucked in the ass by aliens.
He totally would.
And just for the story.
And then he would tell me and I wouldn't believe him. And then I'd
Yeah.
go, oh shit, it's actually true. That's
And then you tell him, post it on Facebook.
Then we would totally do 18 social media posts for it and sell tickets.
When I was 45 years old, I was fucked in the ass by aliens.
I'll be at the Mahaffey Theater in Tampa. Please buy tickets here at this link.
Yeah.
Just push the alien's dick for tickets. That's what it would be. Right? Click here. That's what it would be.
Damn, what a business.
Right?
Communication, you brought that up. I think that's the huge thing, is the bringing it up later, not letting things fester, right?
Well, not letting people, feelings are not always actual. They're real, but they're not actual, right? I may think that someone hates me or feel hated, but they might not actually be what's happening, right? So I think the bringing it up later is well, let's figure out what was really, really going on, right? Obviously, you didn't get fucked in the ass by an alien. What was really happening there? What's the root of that? Because most of the time it comes down to someone screwing me over, or I feel abandoned, or I feel left out, or someone's not validating my feelings, or I don't have a voice. Like there's a really basic kernel.
It's like one of four things.
Yeah. So then you're in all this emotion that could be a trigger from a past experience that has nothing to do with now. And in the moment, you can't separate them, right? You can only feel what you're feeling. So then you have to go back and go, okay, this is what I do with Bert and Ego. Anyway, as I go, well, what is actually what's going on? And then what is the trigger piece? And then you can deal with both of them.
Well, yeah. Do you feel like once you get down to that trigger piece, you already have kind of a system for each trigger piece?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. You've already kind of dealt with it a little bit if you've been in therapy or if you have any kind of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Or you've done any kind of, you don't necessarily have to be in therapy to choose to behave, think, react differently. You can just...
I think you may not have to be in therapy, but you need to know the tools. You can't...
Absolutely.
You can't go into a video game without the fighting moves and then expect to win in Mortal Kombat. You need to know the...
Read some self-help books.
Yeah,
deep dive into podcasts. Watch some YouTube videos. Figure some shit out for sure. But you don't have to actively be in therapy to start sussing this out.
Sure.
So we know what Bert's bottoms are. So it's going to be one of those 4. So let's figure that out. Okay. And then tease it out and let's deal with the old stuff. And now let's look at the new stuff again, because I can't really completely sign up to this alien theory, right? I can sign up in the moment, but later. So you probably don't get...
Later when you're both regulated.
Exactly. Same thing with an argument. He really needs, in an argument, he needs me to be wrong. And I'm not always wrong. I'm wrong sometimes, but I'm not always wrong. But he can't accept anything other than his own experience.
Mm-hmm.
So in all this years together, I've been like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. He needs his experience validated because anything for him is an 11. Where I'm at like a 5. And so I can see the forest for the trees and he can't see anything.
Well, anything for him is
an 11.
Yeah. And it's a fight between life and death.
Everything.
I feel like I resonate with him a lot of this. I'm not being heard. No one's respecting me. No one's listening to me. I feel small.
Why do you feel that way?
Trauma, childhood, but it's just, I think most comics deal with it, of this thing of you put me, I feel like I'm viewed one way. If you see me on the street, I don't look a certain, you don't put intellectual on me or whatever. So if I try to fire off something intellectual, you may look down on me, and I'll see that, I'll see how you look. I'll see how you talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I, at a fault, I put that on myself because I love being able to overstep the bar. I love being able to impress. Mm-hmm. But still, there's this part of me that's like, why don't you listen? Why can't you respect me? Why don't you believe me? Mm-hmm. I know I'm smart. I promise.
Why do I have to prove it?
Why do I exactly?
Yeah.
Why do I always feel like I have to prove myself in every aspect of my life?
I totally relate to those feelings.
Over and over.
Same.
And over. I just did an audition for some festival, and it was the joke of Bert's bringing me on the road. I'm doing these shows full of 15,000 people, 10,000 people, sold out arenas, having some good sets, So it's nice to now Bert's gone. I get to go out on my own and do tryouts and prove myself again, on this Monday night.
Right.
It's just it never ends.
Never ends.
It never ends.
Well, that's, if you could reframe that, you probably already have, and say, yeah, I'll prove it right now. I got it. Here goes. Boom.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Right?
It took me a while to reframe it like that.
Right.
But now I know how to get in that headspace of and you were saying, I'm fuck fic, or we were talking about earlier, I'm fuck ficking with my girl before the audition. And she's like, well, why can't you just go in there and be like, this is me, I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to. But in order to get there,
yeah,
let me yell about this to you. Be my sounding board.
Exactly. You got to wind it up.
Yeah.
Just wind it up.
I got to get there. I got to wind it up to be able to get to that point.
And then you can let it go, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just get it out of your body.
Yeah.
When did you realize you had childhood trauma?
Probably after like the 7th relationship that didn't work.
Really?
That like was for the same thing.
What was the thing?
Me like time like, oh, I need to be doing this every night. You don't believe in me, and like I need to make these sacrifices. And if you can't see it, then we can't be together. You know?
And how did that relate to childhood trauma?
Divorce.
Okay.
So my parents divorced when I was 18. And I thought I was cool with it for like the first couple years. You know, I was 18. Pops kept the house for a little bit. You know, my mom moved out, brought my little brother and sister, and then it was like, cool, I have a house to myself. I have this nice house to myself. I'm 18. Yeah, my parents are divorced. Didn't seem like they liked each other anyway, so fuck it. And then like 4 or 5 years down the line, couple more relationships go down. You're like, oh, I don't trust anybody. Like, you say you're gonna be with me forever, but really you're just gonna leave me.
So
like,
I'll leave you first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll leave you first. I'll put this idea onto the relationship. Like, why compromise when it's never gonna work in the first place?
It's an unrealistic expectation that can never be achieved, right? It can never be achieved.
100%.
It's a setup to fail.
And it took me a while.
But you're so young. It didn't take you that long.
No.
Of your
it took
life.
me like 3 years till like 3-4 years ago. Like, you know, I'm 36 now. That happened when I was 18, you know.
You're 36? I thought you were like 26.
Can we bleep that out? No, I'm
I thought
old.
you were like 26 years old.
Old, LeeAnn.
You're such a young spirit.
I know. And
I love
see,
it.
that's how like I present myself like that. And so I get into these places of like, well, why? You're young. You don't.
It's so funny because I thought you were late 20s and I was like, he's so evolved. He's like so deep and evolved for such a young guy. I can't believe he's just, so learned. So learned, this guy.
No. I'm very old.
You are not very old.
No, but I feel like I've always been like that old soul, but I still feel like I'm 16 in my head, you know.
Wife, the party is brought to you by AquaTrue. I'm always looking for ways to make drinking more water easier, so I don't even have to think about it. I know drinking water is important to staying healthy and hydrated. In fact, 60% of our bodies are made of water. That's why you've got to check out AquaTrue. AquaTrue purifiers use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing. It removes 15 times more contaminants than ordinary pitcher filters. It's the same technology used by all the major bottled water brands, but now it's available for your home and without its plastic waste. It's even portable, making it perfect for renters or college dorms. The filters are affordable and long-lasting. No changing filters every 2 or 3 months. AquaTrue filters last from 6 months to 2 years. Personally, I drink a gallon of water a day, and having an AquaTrue in my house makes that so easy because I know I am always getting purified water at my fingertips, and it sits on my countertop, and it looks pretty nice too. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and even makes a great gift. Today, my listeners receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com, that's AQUATRU.com, and enter code WIFE at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use code WIFE. When I started podcasting, an online store was the furthest thing from my mind. Now I'm selling shirts and hoodies, and it's so easy, all because I used Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify is there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. We love Shopify because it just makes everything easier on our platform. It's really easy to integrate with whatever website platform you're using. Obviously, we don't have a store, like a brick and mortar store. It is seamless with our online shop, and it just makes selling products online easy. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/wife, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/wife now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/wife. So what was it like when you went like, hold on here, this is a pattern, I need to figure this out? Did you just immediately go to therapy or you start reading books? What'd you do?
Couples therapy helped a lot.
Oh, okay.
Couples therapy really got me into it. Like, got me really on this path of like, oh, these are problems that you can fix. We moved down here from San Francisco in 2020, and me and my girlfriend were going through problems.
Mm-hmm.
And we were together for like 2-3 years maybe. And then we kind of like separated for a month. And it was just kind of this realization moment, like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then, you know, coming back together and making this promise to her, like, hey, I want to figure this out. And so we went back into therapy. We got a different therapist. You know, the first therapist that we had was just not good.
Just didn't fit you.
Didn't fit me. It was actually her therapist.
Aha, that's not good.
No, it was. It felt like I was playing road games every fucking time.
That's not right. That's a misstep right off the bat.
Yeah, so it wasn't
not
good.
Neutral playing ground.
And her therapist is a little more. I need someone to hold my feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I get off stage and I'm like, that was a bad set, don't be like, no, that was good. I want you to tell me why you think, like, what could I have done? You know, like, hold my feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sensitive, but I'm also a realist.
And you want honesty.
I want honesty.
Because honesty, when you have trust issues like that, if you see any kind of shady shit, you're like, I don't know who you are, I'm out.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Any sort of inauthenticity,
mm-hmm. Out.
And that works on the opposite way of like, if you tell me everything's good and I think that something's bad, and I sense that you're like inauthentic, then I'm out. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good partner. A good partner needs to be empathetic and open and be like, yo, I'm here. Come to me when you're ready.
That, and you're not always going to agree with a good partner. Bert and I aren't always on the same page. And sometimes you have to go, you know, Oppenheimer was the best movie ever. No, it wasn't. And that, I mean, that's a very simplistic, stupid one. But examples
it wasn't
like that.
Bad. It was a good movie. Did you not like it? What about Saltburn? Did you like Saltburn?
Haven't seen it.
It's a fucking trash movie.
Is it? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's bad. I'll tell you why.
Oppenheimer, I kept going, does anybody else understand what's happening in this movie? I was like, he built the bomb, but I mean, we could have done that in like 15 pages. Mm-hmm. We're like 100 hours in, and I'm going, and we still don't know what's happening entirely. God, I just thought it just went on forever.
Yeah, it was a longer movie.
Bert loved it.
I was fascinated by it.
Bert loved it.
I felt that's a big thing on movies is like inauthenticity. Like I felt very tapped in. I was like, oh, this is authentic. I like it.
It was a very well done movie.
Yeah. I mean,
it was really well done. Anyway.
So then that point of getting into therapy, and we got a new therapist, and one of the first session or two, she was like, she put a name to something that we were doing. And she was like, oh, you're doing the anxious and avoidant push and pull. And I was like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, this is. So she put a name to it and she let me know that this isn't a thing that just is special to you.
Right.
And she like called the thing out perfectly.
Wow.
And then that was like, I heard that and I was like, oh, I can work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing. And there's things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so ever since then, it's really fun to put a name to things, notice them in the moment, and get those wins of like me and my girl will get through one of our dances. We call them like our dance. We're doing our dance right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll handle it like very properly and well. And like, we'll high five. We'll be like, fuck yeah. Good shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really cool because you're going to do that all your life.
Yeah.
Everywhere in your life. It'll never be over. So to expect this process to be over is unrealistic. You have to just go, the trauma, it keeps showing up. You know, it may be easier to overcome and quicker to identify, but it doesn't go away. There's still stuff from my childhood trauma that I got triggered like the first week in January. Hardcore.
Really?
Sobbing.
Oh.
And Bert's like, and it wasn't even something Bert did. It was something that happened with someone else in my family.
Sure.
Where I was like, this is my childhood. This is me being last. This is no one standing up for me. This is me not being sane. This is all my little bottom floor hit every single one of them. And what's awesome about being in a long-term relationship like mine and Bert's is that I told him what I was experiencing, explained all the bottoms it was hitting, and he, since that moment, has watched out for me, right? Has looked out for me and gone, because those little triggers that happened in that big moment happened again from a friend in our life, was the same thing on a smaller scale, where Bert was like, oh, hell no. No.
Yeah, it's like a big earthquake. There's gonna be tremors afterwards.
Yeah.
And he was very proactive.
Cognizant. Yes, and cognizant that in that moment for me, I'm being the brave, strong person. And he goes, no, the same thing that happened when you were crying is happening now. And you're adjusting yourself and pivoting and not dealing with it. Don't do that. So he's able to say, this is the same thing. Don't accept it here either. And then I'm like, oh, you're right. Okay. So
yeah, because you need that person to be able. You need someone to be able to zoom out of the situation,
and who really cares.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing to do is when you're not regulated. Your brain is going like, "This is right.
Yeah,
how you feel is right."
Yes,
but really, if you don't have someone to like zoom out with you and show that they care, it's so hard.
It's so hard.
How long did it take you guys to get like that?
You know, I've been in therapy a long time. I started therapy when I did it from 23 to 27 years old.
Okay.
And then when I figured out I was in love with Bert, I have 7 marriages between my 2 parents. And I was like, I don't actually know how to do that. I don't know how to be married. I never thought I'd get married. I never thought I'd have kids. I did not think that I'm an only child. I was like, I'm just going to this isn't my path. And when we got pregnant on the pill, so I went, well, obviously this is my path. And I don't know how to do this path. I better get back in therapy. So I got into therapy and was really open with her about being afraid to rely on somebody. All I know is that people leave, period. That is it forever. And the truth is, people do leave. Someone's going to die and leave me. The natural process of life, people leave. But for me to be left by a parent over and over and over again, starting at age 4, it's a breakdown of what reality is what's even possible, right?
Sure.
For me, I go, it's not possible for you to get married and stay married. That just isn't how it works.
Yeah.
I hear about it.
Yeah, but you've never seen it.
When the going gets tough, somebody leaves.
Yeah, I've never seen it in person, so how is it real?
And when the going got tough with me, my mom would leave. Bye. See you in a year and a half. I'm not talking to you again.
That's
so
horrifying.
For me, then I was like, I don't know how this is supposed to work. So because I kind of shared all that trauma with Bert in the very beginning, he, in the very beginning of our relationship, was so compassionate and open and supportive and caring about he really understood that I didn't really know how to be in a long-term relationship, and was super great with me. As our relationship progressed and I got really kind of stable in our relationship, he started, I guess, feeling safe that he could dismantle more. So like in the beginning, I would dismantle a little more.
Because you feel like you have enough coins in the bank.
Yes.
And you go, oh yeah, no, that checking account, that savings account is okay.
That's right.
I don't need to look at it.
So now he can go withdraw. And I'm okay now because I understand, believe, I'm fully on board that this marriage is forever. Like we're good. Like I really have found my person who's not leaving.
And I don't want to derail that, but that's a huge thing in my relationship is like, what allowed you to get there besides the therapy? Was there things that Bert did?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Bert said, I one day tried to talk him out of our relationship. I was like, you don't want this bag.
Oh, God, I fucking hate you, LeeAnn.
You don't want this bag of hairless cats I got here.
Oh
you don't want it.
Fucking God, I hate you.
Why?
That's the worst. That's such... Don't give us an out.
No, I really genuinely said, I think what was happening for me internally was, if this is going to end anyway, I can't start. Like, I can't do this. If this is just going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So if we're going to walk into this, you need to know all of my bad luggage, right? So I was like, I don't think you want this ball of wax. And he was like, I do. And I was like, nah, I don't think you do. But I do. And he kept saying, but I do, but I do, but I do. And then he kept proving it. Right? So we'd have an argument where I didn't really know how to argue because I had no siblings. I wasn't allowed to talk back to my mother in any capacity.
Oh, really?
Ever.
Oh, I know how to argue.
Oh, I didn't. I had no one to argue with. I know how to argue now. You had better learn with Bert Kreischer, or you're going to just be like a shell of like no personality if you don't know how to argue with him. But I had to learn how to argue with him. And so he had to be patient enough with me to go, I think what you're saying is not what you mean. So let's try to figure out what you mean. And then because I'd be like, those flowers, how dare you send me those flowers? You know, and it's like, I can't possibly be mad that he sent me these flowers. And he would know that and go, I don't know what you're doing here, but that's definitely not happening.
Which is a very mature thing to do, as opposed to like what my initial thing to do is like, she doesn't like the fucking flower.
Yeah.
And leaving no space for you to actually tell what the trauma is about.
Figure it out.
Or figure it out.
Yeah.
Or
because
figure it out.
For me to say what was really wrong meant that he was leaving.
Well, yeah, for you to say what was really wrong, it was like you're putting your trust in this person that's going to leave. Why do it anyway?
Exactly. So the subconscious part of me was like, don't tell him. Don't tell anybody what's really wrong. Tell him it's the flowers. And so he, for a long time early in our relationship, would go, I know it's not the flowers. Let's figure out together what it is. And I would just fall apart. I mean, like,
yeah, because you're not
fall apart. I have sob.
Because deep down, it's like, I'm too much.
Yes. I was like, you don't want all this bullshit. I don't want all this bullshit, by the way.
I'm sorry, LeeAnn. That sucks.
But he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, but that sucks to feel like I'm too much.
Oh, I've always felt like I was too much.
I've
always been told I'm too much.
See, that's like, that's our, like, me and my girl's opposite. Like, our family dynamic is like so similar.
Yeah.
You know, when I walked in and met her mom, everyone was like, her mom's crazy. She just yells. I met her. I was like, oh, Mom.
I know who you are. Right.
And so it was like, why are we so different? Is because she always felt like she was too much.
Oh, yeah.
But I always felt like I was special.
Ah.
You know, my pops may not, may be a hard ass, but they were always like there. And my mom was always like, you're special.
Right.
You're not too much. What do you want?
Right.
And so.
Well, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Because if you have the same family, that's really powerful.
But they still yell. So it was always like this thing of like, well, why when I yell, you shut down? But when me and my mom called me up the other day and screaming at each other.
Wow.
Like I'm screaming at her like a old black comics joke about white guys yelling at their mom. And I'd be like, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she's going, fuck off, fucking don't fucking do this. And then like within 4 seconds, it's like, anyway, are you good? She's like, yeah, I'm good. How you doing? I'm like, I'm chilling. All right, well, I'll talk to you. I love you. You know? But with her, that yelling meant you're too much.
Uh-huh.
But the yelling for me meant like, oh, you're special. I care about you.
Right.
I care. That's why I'm yelling.
Yeah, mine was, you're too loud. Stop yelling. Stop running. Stop getting so dirty. Stop playing outside until dark. You're too much. Stop being so direct. Stop telling the truth when someone asks you a question. Nobody wants to hear the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Stop being yourself.
So very avoidant attachment style then?
I don't know what that means, but...
You don't know about attachment style?
Mm-mm.
Oh, LeeAnn.
Tell me, mister.
LeeAnn, that was the coolest shit. That was what got me hooked on therapy, was attachment style.
What is that?
So you can either be anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, secure attachment, or indifferent. Yeah, I think it's like indifferent attachment or something, which is kind of like blase blah. And this is all stems from how you were raised by your parents, right? So if your mother was, let's say you were sick and she got so worked up and she was so afraid to take you to the hospital because of all the bad things that she could happen. So nothing happened. She just left you there. That's anxious. You're anxious. That's your anxious attachment. Avoidant would be like, nothing's wrong. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to take you to the hospital, you know? And then like secure attachment would be like, yeah, oh, something's wrong. Let's bring you to the hospital. And then indifferent would you just wouldn't like listen to, like a mix of them. And so that plays into how you attack problems, right? So, you know, my mom was very protective of me. She wouldn't let anybody hold me. And so now when problems come, I'm like, oh, fuck, something. It's as little as texting people back. Someone sends a text, I go to send it, and then I go, and then I won't text back for
How about that?
3 days. So a lot of people that like, you're like, oh, you're bad at phones. It's not that they hate you. It's because they're a mess inside their brain. Right. You know, or the avoidant is when you run and hide. Oh, my girlfriend's having problems. This is just overwhelming me. Let me just run away from these feelings. Oh, I have these problems. I feel like I'm too much. Let me just push them down and avoid them. Right. Which is that avoidant attachment style. And you can go on the internet, you take a little test, and it'll show you what you are. What are your two major attachment styles? Right. How fascinating. No, I've never heard of this. And so when my therapist brought that up to me, I was like, oh, like anything to like put like a name to the face. I'm the best. I love names to faces too. It helps me problem solve them, right? To go, okay, well, if that's what I'm doing, how do I not do that? And sometimes if I can't put a name to a face, I can't break the cycle. Yeah, how could you? Right? How could you? Fix it. You need that. You need like the feelings chart is huge for me. Oh yeah. Have you seen that? Like it's this big wheel of feelings. And it'll have like, I feel happy, but then on the inverse of it is I feel sad. But it really puts it has feelings, right? So you don't get stuck in this meandering when you're in a fight with someone. You go, oh, I just like feel like sometimes it's like you're not saying anything. You right? Feel like sometimes. That means that you don't know what you feel. Yeah. So, you can't articulate it. But let's get to the root. Right. Let's break it down. What I feel. So like I'll chow my girl. Like I feel like something. Relax. Feeling. Look at the chart. And we'll look at the chart. Point to the chart. What are you feeling? You know? That's awesome. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'll have to find that chart. I think it would be helpful. It does suck at like 36 years old. You're like needing training wheels to get through a problem. Why does that suck? It doesn't suck. But it doesn't suck. I don't want to end up like my father. I don't want to end up like my girlfriend's parents, like where you're just like stuck in this loveless shit. And yeah, not interested. Maybe it could have worked out. Right. If you worked on it. If you had a feelings chart. If you had a fucking feelings chart. Come on now. Or knew about your attachment styles or just believed me when I said aliens flew down and fucked me in my ass.
Right?
It's
So
ridiculous.
every household should have a feelings chart, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Just framed like
On the
on the
fridge.
kitchen wall, something.
On the wall or on the fridge.
Let's go check the chart.
Go check the chart. Go tell me how you're feeling.
Below the chore chart is the feeling chart. How do you
Yes.
feel about the chores? I don't want to hear that.
Are you feeling frustrated?
Yes.
What's the real cause of this?
What's the real cause?
Yeah.
So when you started deep diving into therapy, sort of, how did it affect your relationship with your parents and your siblings? Did it affect it at all?
Yeah. I mean, it has been. I think the work hasn't really transcended into those parts. I mean, I'm so far away from my family, and it's hard to keep in touch for me, like with on the phone and things like that. It doesn't feel authentic, so it's like it doesn't feel real to me.
What doesn't feel authentic?
Like talking on the phone or texting, like
Gotcha.
It just doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
And so it's hard for me to put myself in that position to reach out.
Right.
And the work in therapy has been so much on myself and in as a partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I haven't really put that practice into the family dynamic yet.
Interesting.
And I think it's a lot scarier because working on yourself, working on therapy, you start to go, there's some things.
Yeah.
There are some things that we got to talk about.
Yeah.
There's definitely some things that are left unsaid that needs to come out in the open, and it's kind of heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a little scary.
Yeah.
My avoidant brain, my father's brain goes, I'll get it done.
At some point.
I'll get there.
Yeah, right.
I'll get there,
Yeah. I didn't know if it affected since you don't really, it sounds like you don't talk or spend a lot of time with them. Maybe it wouldn't, but I know when I started therapy, I always and I still do have a great relationship with my dad, but it definitely reframed my thoughts about my dad, where I found places where he wasn't, Superman, because my relationship with my mom was so not good. I put all my eggs in my dad's basket.
So do you feel like you gave him too much of the benefit?
100%.
Yeah, and then you were like, that's the scary part, right?
Now I don't have anybody to rely on. I thought I at least had him.
That's what fucking frightens me.
It does?
That's so scary.
It's real
because
scary.
I'm in the midst of getting back into individual therapy. And it's just I don't.
It's really not to discourage you, but those moments of looking at my dad and feeling disappointment or feeling like where I had been let down was really difficult because I had put all my eggs in his basket. And he is a lovely person. He's a really sweet, loving, totally did the best he could. And I, as a parent, have shortcomings. And there are places where I'm not what my kids need, not because I don't want to be, just because I'm
you're going to
not
traumatize
that.
them.
I'm going to. Oh, they're both in therapy. And we were both like, yeah, because you don't have regular parents for sure. Bert's Bert's not a regular dad. This isn't a regular life where there's a white picket fence and someone comes home at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm not regular. I grew up not knowing how to do any of this really in any conventional way. So yeah, there's going to be some speed bumps for you. And I support that both of our kids go, Mom sucked here and Dad sucked here. Because if they didn't have that or see that, I'd never be a full human being to them. I would be idealized or villainized.
Yeah. How can you be real to someone if they don't see the full truth of it?
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't see the perfections and the imperfections, they're both.
And with your father, do you feel like, yeah, that's scary to me. It's watching a movie that you thought was good growing up and it was your favorite movie, and then you rewatch it and you're like, What the? It's like watching Entourage.
It's like watching Grease.
Yeah, Grease.
You're like, wait, a real pussy wagon? Hold on. I was 8 years old when I saw this movie, and he basically forced himself on her in the drive-in. Hold on, 16 Candles, same way. Hold on, you just gave her to him?
Yeah.
Hold on. So that's exactly what it's like, is where you grow up and you go, fuck, I was in 16 Candles. No. But yeah, he's, it was an interesting process to see your hero parent as flawed and to really process that. And so it affected I was so close to my dad that if I didn't see him as that kind of flawed human, I don't think I'd be able to have a successful relationship with Bert, who is a flawed human.
You mean if you didn't see the full truth of it, not just like put up the veil as childhood, you mean the full truth?
Yeah.
Okay. That's powerful.
Of like, he never stood up to my mom for me, ever. Not one time. And never had him go, don't do that to our daughter. Or show up when you say, never.
But as a child, you were like, you put up this veil on him like, well, like I couldn't stand up to her either. Like,
well, no, I never even put two and two together that he never did that. All I saw was he was always on time. He was always reliable. He never missed my Wednesday phone call. He never was late. He was always fun. He was safe. He saw me and loved that I got dirty and that I was loud and that I screamed. He embraced who I was as a person. But he also let her run roughshod over me and not protect me and take care of me.
And how hurtful is that to not be like, you feel like you have this person who loves you, but then is afraid to show you off?
Is weak.
Yeah.
Is weak against the person who's hurting you, who's supposed to be protecting you, right? Yeah. So but my therapist and I have talked about this a lot. I made my dad that perfect, amazing person to be safe, right?
Sure, yeah.
So as a child, you don't really go, or don't necessarily go, well, why aren't you fighting for me over here in this camp? I was scared to death of her too. Yeah. So I just wanted to be safe and everything to be no drama. And it was never drama with my dad. It was always effortless. And then as I start, my first therapist, one of my first sessions, I was my mom and my mom and my mom and my mom. And he goes, let's talk about your dad. And I'm like, he's perfect. Yeah. I love him. He goes, let's start with your dad. And I was like, I got really defensive. And I was like, I'm not talking about my dad. No way. There's nothing to talk about. I remember the feeling I had when he said, let's talk about your dad. I got
furious.
Hot.
Yeah.
I was like, back the fuck off.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Which is your subconscious going, I am not getting into that.
Yeah, right.
I have been lying to her for this long. We're not opening it up.
Get out of my safety zone.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then Dr. Bob was his name. He just kept going, so your dad. And so he forced me to start with my dad. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but it definitely like shook everything up, right?
Yeah.
And today, in a happy marriage today, with a human person who's flawed, I think that was probably one of the most important things I did, was to look at the flaws in my dad and to feel the disappointment of that, to know that disappointment in a core relationship is part of life, that it is surmountable and that it's forgivable and that it is true, complete love includes that, right?
Damn, that's a fucking bar, LeeAnn. That's huge. Yeah.
Do you have a question for me? Well, I probably have an answer because I'm pretty opinionated. But if you want to ask me the question, you can leave me a voicemail at 818-949-8536, and I might just answer your question on the show. Again, that is 818-949-8536.
That's huge. Yeah.
It does. It includes being disappointed in the person you love the most and forgiving that and moving past that. I think a lot of marriages don't know how to do that and don't have that in their zeitgeist and can't get past it.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of marriages, they do what you did as a child to your father in aspects, right?
Correct.
well, he doesn't do this, but he's late. He's always on time.
Yes.
So.
Instead of going, oh,
My girlfriend's very good about challenging me to be an all-around star. So I get that.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she does not put the, no, she does that a lot. And that's our problem is like, she'll, well, he does this, he does that, it's fine. But then 4 months down the line, she's been fighting these feelings and then it just comes out.
Oh, I see.
You know?
See. She tries to accept something that's not actually acceptable for
because
her.
her needs are too much. She doesn't want to be too much.
Let me give you a little insight on someone who's too much. Okay.
Please. And if you have pen and paper.
Well, you can listen to it again.
Yeah.
Your need, your want, I see as a need. My need is a want.
One more time.
Okay. So your want, I want to be a big comedian. I see as a need. I need to do everything I can to make that happen.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Okay.
Yep.
My need is a want. I need sleep. Do you really need it? No. You just want that. You don't really need that. So this is something Bert and I talk about a lot. My need is never really a need in my own psyche. So I don't ever fight for what I need. So I will swallow what I need until 4 months later and I go, I fucking need this because I can't tolerate it anymore because I have a really hard time identifying a need and making a distinction between a need and a want for me. But whatever you want, I see as a need. It's essential. I do that with my kids. I do that with my friendships. I do that with everybody but myself.
Yeah.
Because I need too much.
Yeah.
I am too much. I ask too much. I behave too much. So I'm going to need the least. And what I need really is kind of optional. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what she's probably doing.
Yeah.
Is she going, well, whatever Mark wants or needs, wants and needs are the same to her for you. But for her, everything under her thing is optional. Mm-hmm. So then she'll shove it, stuff it, not talk about it until she can't tolerate it anymore. You just have to learn.
Well, it's my job, to learn how to.
If you're a teammate, then you identify, okay, she doesn't even know this is a need. Like it happened to me Tuesday, where this past Tuesday, I got up and I did not feel well. And I don't ever not feel well like this. Something was just off. I think I was really run down. And I tripped over something and fell. And I kept having to lay down. Like I was like, I just need to lay down for a minute. And Bert was like, you need to go to bed. Like I'm not even you need to go to bed. And I would not let him take care of me. I wouldn't let it happen. I was like, nope, I have too much to do for you today. And I'm getting through the day. And I did. And I pushed myself through. And now in hindsight, I go, man, that was me stubbornly refusing to change. That was me stubbornly refusing to have a need.
Yeah,
right?
and cold rocking it and refusing his care because you're too much.
I'm too much. That's too much for you to care for me. I can care for myself and at the same time care for you while I'm laying down every 15 minutes and tripping over shit and barely getting through the day.
And it's so bad because it ruins you, right? Because you're stifling your needs.
I ruin myself, by the way.
And then on his end is he now isn't going to trust his eye of maybe she doesn't need me.
That's exactly what happens for him. He tells me that all the time. He becomes unnecessary because I have no need.
Yeah. And it's because, and it's like, I can't fashion my way into this puzzle.
Yeah.
And it's because you run through a million stories. But
yeah. Because I am used to taking care of myself entirely. And anybody who I needed left. And anything I needed was neglected.
Me and him are special people. We think we are just the specialist of people. We were raised to be the guy.
Oh, his mother and his grandmother told him all the time how special he was.
Oh my God, my grandmother.
Woo.
I mean, in front of cousins.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just and my siblings hate me because of it.
Isn't that funny? What was it about you and Bert, do you think, that they saw or they liked or they
I
gravitated
don't
toward?
know. I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't know. That's like a conversation on like simulation theory and like world outlook and like what is it really? But yeah, I see myself in that way with Bert. Like when we were in Amsterdam one time, we were just high. It was late at night. We were smoking in his hotel room. And he was just being honest and vulnerable, which is very hard for him. Now it's becoming...
Well, he trusts you and he knows you, and now it's probably really easy.
But he was like, "Can I tell you guys a secret?"
Uh-oh.
And I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I don't think any of you are real." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "I think you guys are all just like characters in my dream." And I go, "That's adorable."
Oh my God.
You don't know that you're a character in my dream, dude. And it was like this thing. He was like, "Oh, you think you're the guy?" No, I'm the guy.
Right.
My grandma told me I'm the guy.
Yeah, right. My grandma told me I'm the guy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's such a cool blanket to go through life with that.
I would imagine.
On the flip side, when that veil is like pulled away, you're like, ah.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a comfort blanket to go through life like that.
If you were told, or at least I can speak for Bert, there might have been a lack of accountability for him because of his specialness, right?
Oh, 100%. I have not got a text back from the guy in 3 text messages, which I'm like, anytime that happens, I'm like, texting myself.
That's hysterical. So I think that's part of it, right? Is that he was never, he did, the world's rules didn't apply to him.
They don't.
And so it's hard, I think, sometimes to be in a marriage where the rules apply.
It's hard to be in a relationship where the rules apply.
Right.
And that's it really
and
is.
him adjusting into applying the rules. We had the stupidest fight like 2 days ago. Okay, we have these 2 big mastiffs, right?
Yes.
Okay, the female's the alpha, which means the male, right, has determined, we have fenced in, been my house, we have like dog gates, and they're in one room.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that big boy goes outside those gates, he thinks that's the girl's territory and marks everything. When a 150-pound dog marks your furniture, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting. So I put the dog gates up. Dog gates are staying up. Obviously, I would love to like put some fancy homemade built gate in. I've had people come in and give me bids. I don't like any of it. I don't have time to really figure it out. Baby gates are working. Leave them. Bert, Will, we have lived in this house for 3 fucking years. Those gates have been in that same spot for 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
And that asshole, invariably, every 6 months, will not get the gate completely opened and has not slowed himself down.
Well, we're in a rush, LeeAnn.
For what?
We're
to go
special.
Take a shit? I don't care.
We're special.
So he does this like 3 days ago. He tries to open the gate, doesn't get it open, almost flips over the gate and goes, and then blames me. And as he's walking to the gate, I go, the gate is locked shut, so slow down and open it up. Didn't hear me.
Yeah.
I'm like as close to you as I am to him saying this out loud, thinking he's hearing me.
No.
He almost flips over the gate and he goes, okay, the gates have to go. And I was like, the gates are not, this is one of those, sometimes with him, I just dig my heels in and go, fuck it, we are going toe to toe.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes I'm like,
you gotta squab.
You're going down.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
I am dying on this hill of the dog gate.
That's so funny.
He was like, this has to go. And I went, okay, then you're going to start cleaning up the dog piss. When he goes, well, I will not be doing that, but you will have to drive me to the emergency room when I flip over and break my neck.
Yeah.
Well, you are going to need to, well, you should find another dog gate. Well, and we go on and on and on and on. And I go, the truth of the matter is I said to you, as you're walking across the room, slow down so you can open the gate. What you need to do is the gates have been there for 3 years. This is not a mystery. Mm-hmm. It's as if you walked into a closed door. Don't be an idiot. Stop and open the gate. And then he turns to me and he goes, you realize you're asking me to change who I am.
Oh my God. What a cunt. Oh my God, what a cunt.
Thank you.
What a
And I
God.
I don't think that's actually accurate.
I say that I've said that so many times about the dumbest shit.
And I go, I'm asking you to stop and open a gate before you walk through it so I don't have to clean up a 155-pound dog piss all day long.
Oh.
You're asking me to change who I am.
Yeah. He's a special guy.
Special's one word for it. I didn't feel he was very special in that moment.
Oh, I want
Of course, I let it go. I said my last thing and I let him go do his thing and I sat down and I was fucking boiling. I was like, I cannot believe that. I can't believe we just had this argument. It's so asinine. What human being? It's like telling me to remove a door because you can't stop and open a door.
Yeah, but then also letting you know that door being there is hurting my sense of being, sense of self.
It's asking him to change who he is.
Yeah.
So he comes back in and he's coming down the hallway and he goes, I'm slowing down to open the gate. I'm showing you that I am changing who I am. And I was like, you are such. And I went, hey, baby, whatever you got to do to open the gate. Whatever you got to do. So I was home. She came downstairs and was like, what is going on happening? So I told her what was going on. And she is always team dad. Always team dad. And this time she goes, Dad, that's ridiculous. Yeah. And I went, okay, now he'll change. Because she said, not because I did, because she said, okay, now you're being ridiculous.
She's able to help him zoom out a little bit, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is also frustrating because I go, dude, I've been zooming out for you for like 10 days now. She shows up and goes, oh yeah, totally what mom says. And he's like,
I can't even imagine the dynamic having a kid adds, let alone two. I just have a dog. That's hard work.
Dogs are awesome though.
Yeah, they are. But certain things are like, are we going to be able to raise a child together?
Yes. If Bert and I can do it.
Yeah, we can. But it's like, oh, these are the fights that are going to happen.
Oh, yeah? You're seeing it over the dog?
Let her take the dog collar. Let her take it off. She doesn't like it in the house. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be kid shit.
So I'll tell you what we did that was really helpful that might be helpful if you think about it.
Okay.
We kind of determined certain domains where someone was in charge, right?
That makes sense.
Not that you leave the other person out.
No, but someone's a CEO, someone's a CFO.
Correct.
Someone's the general manager, someone just runs the front of the house.
Yeah.
Front of the house, back of the house type shit.
Totally, because...
You cook, I put the face on.
Bert cooks, I clean. He's happy cooking, I'm happy cleaning because I hate to cook.
Yeah.
And with parenting, we did that a little bit in that we determined certain rules, like basic rules, like no lying, no hitting, like that kind of stuff that's kind of basic value system.
I can't get over the no hitting thing. Like I really... No, I'm playing.
What? I was like, what? You can't just hit people randomly. What are you talking about?
I grew up in an Italian household. You know.
Okay, different value system for your household, but for ours. But then Bert had he was not into a bedtime. He was like, why? And I was like, oh, dude. Okay, this is where we're going to go wrong and you're just going to have to let me have it.
Defer.
Like you're just going to, you don't get why a kid needs a bedtime. I'm the person that deals with the after effect of a kid not having a bedtime.
You're the defensive coordinator.
So go fuck off. I'm doing bedtime. And you're going to help me do bedtime. And this is a non-negotiable. And he let me have it. He let me determine it. He let me run it. So we did shit like that a lot as we were figuring out how to parent. Like when the girls got to be teenagers, I had a heavier hand in the toddler world, and in the teenager world, he understood them differently than I did. I was a little more of a hard ass with like rules and stuff. And so he would always say to me, let me take this one. And he would always do a better, I would let him have the lead. And if I didn't agree with some of the stuff he said, I would tell him privately and he would adjust it.
That's a huge thing.
It is.
That's a huge thing is that trust, but to be shared not in front of
your kids.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To be on we would sometimes.
You got to show that you're on the same team.
We're a team and
behind
you're not
doors,
separating
you can
us.
fight, but when it's game time, we're going to be out there on the field. There's cameras out here. We got to act like a team.
Totally. And you're not ever going to separate us because as soon as they see you can separate them.
Oh, it's over.
They do.
Yeah.
They'll try to get Bert off my team.
Yeah.
They've never tried to get me off Bert's team.
Well, that's good too, because then you don't raise two little manipulators.
Exactly.
Yeah, because boy, as I got two siblings, and we are all very good at manipulation. Oh, baby. Oh, I get what I want.
Yeah.
I get what I want.
Well, you're the special one.
I am the special one. I am, yes.
Where do they all live?
My little brother lives up in Seattle area, and then my little sister lives in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all on this coast.
Yeah.
Where are your parents?
Simply Bay Area.
Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Jersey. I grew up like outside Philadelphia, and then moved to the Bay Area like right before high school.
Okay.
So like a little bit of both coast flavor. I smoke weed, but I'm mad about it.
Right.
Everybody's like, you got a fake East Coast accent. It's like I don't try. I don't
know if it's fake.
But the Bay, the Bay raised me.
Yeah.
I think I pride myself as being a Bay Area guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What else do you think you have to work on? You haven't worked on yet.
Individual growth. I need to.
What does that mean? What do you mean? I mean, I know what it means, but what does that mean to you?
It means to me that sometimes I let my trauma take over me. And also unmarrying my stage persona and my outside persona, my real life persona. So I think in comedy, I spent so much time marrying, trying to find the person that I am on stage, be the same person that I am off stage, right? Like the person that off stage gets laughs. What about that guy to bring to the stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a lot of success in my stage persona, and then I found recently, but have been noticing that, trauma and vulnerability is funny, right? Especially when you're performing and people know that it's a performance. But when you're kind of in real life and you're letting those things hijack you, it's different. And so kind of unmarrying those parts, right? Not bringing my stage persona to the streets, so to say. Like a lot of times I'm getting worked up doing a bit in front of my girlfriend, and she has to look at me and be like, are you serious right now? And that sucks. That hurts. Or it's like, no, I'm really not. I'm just like trying to make you laugh.
Right.
But the way I make you laugh on stage is like yelling and acting like I'm upset.
Right.
So individual growth on that. What are those triggers? And I find myself getting hijacked a lot by cortisol. I find myself a lot being like getting triggered in these certain moments, feeling small, and then letting that little kid come out, as opposed to being able to zoom out.
So I find it really interesting that you felt special and still felt small.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're raised by two parents.
What do you mean?
One parent makes you feel special.
I see.
The other parent makes you feel small.
Okay.
It's just that's why that attachment system, like you have, actually when I took mine, I'm like equal parts 4. So it's like
equal parts 4. I'm all 4.
Yeah.
Bonus.
So it's like fuck.
As you were describing them, that's so funny because I was like, I think I have all 4 of those, but maybe that's not possible. Maybe I'm
possible.
So freaking linear. I'm like, I can only choose one.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be like, I'm pretty equal parts. Like I was raised well, in both aspects of like trauma, and like I got all the good stuff too.
Right.
And so not that like one parent was better than the other, but just one parent showed up immensely in one area and the other one didn't. And they weren't a team. What you were talking about, doing it behind closed doors, this and that, on like showing up together and presenting as a team, it was never like that.
Right.
It was never like that for me. And so
what did that do to you?
Part of me thinks I'm special.
Ah.
And feeling like you're special feels like you're small at the same time, right? Like if you feel special, no matter what you say, people aren't getting it.
And I would imagine it's isolating.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the only, Bert's in my dream in
Right.
Amsterdam, you know, like.
So no one else can be in your dream.
Exactly.
That's really lonely.
Well, individual growth is allowing someone else to share my dream.
Your
with
space,
me.
right?
Yeah. Share my space.
Mm-hmm.
Allowing myself to put my faith in someone that they're not going to run away.
Right.
They're going to tell me their feelings and I'm going to be able to act on them. That's the growth that I want to. I want to be a good teammate.
Right.
You know, I want to be as good as a teammate that I want.
It's like the oak and the elm grow not in each other's shadow. You heard that?
No,
Part of a
please.
poem. The oak and the elm grow not in each other's shadow. They grow together. So one's not better than the other.
Yes.
They're just grow in adjacent ways, right? That's what a marriage or a relationship should be. One is not shadowing the other. And oak and elm are different, both trees, but not the same kind.
Yeah.
And one's not better than the other. It's just different. Yeah.
And allowing that tree to share your space doesn't mean that you're not going to grow to a strong tree.
That's right. And sometimes one will be taller than the other for a minute.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes you carry the other person and then the other person carries you.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to be in a marriage or a relationship. I really didn't understand what this could even be like. And I can't tell you how proud and special, not special in a very grounded, like real way, I feel like my relationship with Bert is. That
Well, I see
our
it.
relationship is such a gift that we give each other every day, right?
Well, that's cool that you feel it because I see it and I feel it. I'm sure there's millions of people that feel it from you guys too. Just showing that good example. Because it's no bullshit. Like, you know,
No, it's
behind
not
closed
bullshit.
doors or in front of closed doors. Like, I'm here to say, like, I've seen the fights. I've seen some fights.
Yeah, we have fights for sure.
I've seen some, but I've seen some like really powerful moments. Like the thing I brought up at the beginning of the podcast when he's just like ripping on someone and then you just are able to like calm him down. I was like, oh, damn, I want to be that for my girlfriend and I want her to be that for me. Like, it's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel so lucky. And sometimes I go, I don't really know how we did this. I don't really know how we did this. What's the special sauce?
Hard
I don't know.
fucking work, dog.
I think it's a desire, right? A desire for it to work. We really want to be together.
Yeah, you need to have a passion for it.
Yeah.
You need to want to be together.
Yes.
That was a thing in therapy. Like people would be like, you're not even married. Why are you going to therapy? It's like, well, bitch, I want this to work.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not just going into therapy to make it work.
No.
I want it to work.
Yeah.
You know?
The want gets you through so much.
And these things don't just, they're not singular to one person. And so if you're in a relationship that you want to work, sometimes you can't make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like therapy is a great way to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've recommended my couples therapist to a few of my buddies and she's been very blunt. Like this is never going to work.
Right.
And she's told us like, hey, I'm not doing this to keep you guys together. I'm doing this so you guys can find out if you can be together or not.
Totally.
And like, I've, you know, had a lot of talks of recommending like, nah, she told us to break up.
Yeah, she's
and then like 2 months down the line, they're broken up. It's like, yeah, well, you know.
Some of it is very formulaic. You know, some of it is like, what's your value system? Do they line up? Yes or no? That answers the question.
That someone told me that to me a while ago too, that resonated. It's like, yo, our value system is very similar.
Yeah.
Our core beliefs are very similar.
Totally.
Sometimes I'll make off-color jokes and she doesn't like it. That's, you know, that's what it is. You know? But that doesn't mean that we're incompatible.
Doesn't mean 100% line up.
No.
It just has to line up enough.
Enough.
And there has to be enough that is not like a deal breaker.
And shared wants.
A shared want. Yeah. A want.
Yeah.
I think just the ability to fucking do nothing and have a good time. To play Scrabble and have a good time.
Yeah, I can sit there like and just like Yeah, that's the thing. That's what drew me to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Was like we sat there for like 3 hours and just bullshitted. Like I was doing bits. You know, the bits where you're like, wait, what are you? Like she would just like
That's awesome.
tack on instead of being like, wait, what? Like she got it. And I
She'd
was
keep
like,
up with you.
yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
I like her. She's really
her.
cool.
I like her. She's smart.
She's really cool and she really likes you.
She's a great girl. She's a great girl. She's a very special human being. And that's what hurts to hear you say when you're like, you know, I never felt special. It's like the people that don't feel special are usually the most special.
I felt special to my dad.
Yeah.
I felt very special to my dad, for sure.
I think that's what she felt too.
Yeah. I had that one I think if you don't have one person who thought you were special in some capacity, you have a really hard time recovering. Resiliency looks really different for someone who didn't have a port in the storm anywhere. And my dad married his second wife when I was, they started dating when I was about 8 and were together until I was 20. So for most of my life, I had a stepmom who, I don't know if she thought I was special at the time, but I definitely felt loved.
Yeah.
Right? I felt like she loved me and she saw me and she would listen to me. And she didn't take a lot of responsibility for me because I wasn't her child. But, you know.
Which was good.
Which was healthy. Yeah. All very healthy because they weren't married until I was like 19 or 18 when you get married. So, but she was still someone who got a kick out of me. You know, she got a real kick out of me.
So there was still some coins being put into that bank.
Correct. Yes. And even when I kind of started learning about my dad being human in my early 20s, there were so many coins in that bank. The withdrawals that were happening from that were okay. You know, I never stopped adoring my dad. Even when I went, oh yeah, he never, you know, took care of me or shielded me or stood up for me. I never stopped loving her or never even had necessarily a rough or rocky time. It just recalibrated the foundation I'd built who I thought I was on. All of a sudden I went, oh, wait, some of this is actually incomplete and inaccurate. So now I have to kind of figure that out. Because a lot of it was about my self-worth. Was I not worth standing up for? Was I not worth my dad saying, don't fucking do that to your daughter, to my daughter? Or I drive an hour to take her home every Sunday and you make us sit in the driveway for 2 hours? Stop doing that, you know? Like that kind of stuff.
Jesus.
But he would just sit in the driveway and stew and then never address it with her. And I just
my pops used to pull up to the house after work and like I would hear his music, right? And he would just be like in the driveway for like 15 minutes, just like listening to music full blast. And I always would be like, what the fuck is he doing? And then like years later go by, you're like, oh, I get it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he had to come in and fucking battle.
Oh.
You know, like, yeah. Rough.
Have you always played golf?
No.
No? When did you start playing golf?
I was like 21, 22.
I figured you grew up playing golf.
No, I'm not that kind of white. Not good white.
I'm not that kind of white either.
Yeah, no, not good white. Had opportunities, I guess. Like my pops played golf. He would always try to get me into golf, but I never thought it was cool. I was a skateboarder. Yeah, I played team sports up until like really sophomore year. I really took skateboarding seriously. And that was my thing. You know, I was going to be a pro skateboarder. And that was, I didn't party. I didn't go out and drink. It was just, on Friday nights, you know, I had a license at 16 just so we can go to skate spots, you know, and like Friday nights was like bring out the generator and the lights. And we're going to go light up this handrail at 12 o'clock at night instead of like getting drunk like a normal kid, right? And so my pops always be like, golf, you gotta golf. Fuck that. And then when I was like 22, just like working at a restaurant, getting high with a buddy, we just went and grabbed clubs after a shift and we're like, let's just go to the course and fuck and like sneak on and walk around. And I had such a good time. Like it was so cool of like, whoa, this is like a little mini vacation. You're out there, you're kind of walking or riding in a cart. And then I started seeing the similarities of skateboarding and golf.
What are the similarities? I would never have thought.
Well, it's the same. It's the same feelings. It's muscle memory, right? So doing a kickflip feels good. Even by yourself, doing a kickflip feels good. It's something, your brain repeating something right. Hitting a 7-iron, 155 yards, feels like a kickflip. And then doing a kickflip in front of your friends, and they go, yeah, good shit, good. That feels good. You're getting that recognition. You're not golfing alone. You're usually golfing with friends. You're usually not skating alone. You're skating with friends. So hitting that 7-iron, and like you're out there by yourself though. Like you're only competing with yourself. The same thing with skateboarding. You're only competing with yourself. And so I started noticing these things, and it's such a similar feeling. And I just really fell in love with it. I was like, this is everything. It's so cool to just be out there, and you can improve on your game, and that feeling of like worth. You're feeling self-worth.
This sounds exactly like stand-up.
Exactly like stand-up. Well,
because you're
feeling the self-worth.
But you're achieving singularly adjacent to other players.
You're achieving singular. Yeah, I would never do improv. I would never be able to work in, and working in a group is hard for me. I do a podcast with 3 other people. That's a hard thing to do.
Is it?
As a solo comic, yeah, it's same thing with a relationship. You're like, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me,
right.
And if you're trying to addendum my idea, then you don't believe in me. But really, you do. You want to see me grow.
Right.
So the golf thing was like, it was just, I just golfed.
Yeah.
And like, I never did the like polo shirt. I gotta do, like I'm not that kind of golfer.
Right.
But there's, a lot of people that are just like me that weren't being spoken to.
Right.
And then when I moved down here to LA and San Francisco, everything was shut down. It was 2020. It was locked down, but golf was kind of open. And I got a call from a comic who heard through the grapevine that I golfed, and he was like putting together this little like TV pilot trip thing, and that we all met up together. It was like me and 3 other comics. We did film this thing that didn't really go anywhere, but we knew instantly we had connection. And we all had the same idea of like, yo, how are we all golfing? But like, there's no one really looking. Like, if you look into the zeitgeist of golf, you don't really see us.
Right.
But every time we go to the course, we see us.
Right.
And so we were just like, yeah, we got to start something.
Right.
So we started this thing called Country Club Adjacent, which was like a podcast, Instagram, social media page that just kind of spoke to this clientele of golf that we felt wasn't being spoken to. Like, hey, golf is cool. Golf is pretty uncool, but there are aspects that is cool.
Right.
And anybody can pick it up, even though it looks like it's inaccessible.
Right.
Which in a lot of ways it still is. A lot of ways it still is.
Right.
But I want to open it up.
But there's public courses everywhere.
It's public courses everywhere, but still it's not what it is.
No.
You want to talk about trauma?
Okay.
There's trauma on the golf course.
Why?
Because hurt people hurt people.
Yes, they do.
So when you go to a golf course, it's very closed off. And when you're a kid and, we're at college, pull up here. Don't do that. Don't do that. So when we go, we get those people that they're like, you got, and it's like, chill.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
You can treat the golf course with respect, but you don't have to like abide by these power dynamic rules. You have to wear this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Why?
I'm just asking the question, why?
Yeah.
Because we don't want you to get out of line.
Oh my God. And the polo shirt's going to help you not get out of line.
It's fucking ridiculous.
You know how many boys in polo shirts done so much damage on this world?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. In fact, you can argue that because of that, you've grown this because of you have now, if you put a polo shirt on, you feel like you can do no wrong.
Right.
You've grown this.
That makes sense.
And so it's like, that's not a way to live life.
It's not true.
And you say public courses, like we still go to public courses all the time and get hassled.
Mm-hmm.
Like my buddy just joined Calabasas Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
Not the most prestigious country club, but it's a private club. And, you know, I went out, we're paying for his membership, right? And I went out there as a guest, you know, and on the first tee box, like not even on the tee, on the driving range, all of a sudden, like 10 little kids come up to me. Like little kid, like, dude, you're the guy. And it's like, sick, yeah, cool. Like, yeah, cool, yeah. And, you know, taking pictures. Hey, growing the game, you know, getting these kids into golf.
That's
and
great.
then I get into my cart and I have the pro shop guy come directly to me. And he's like, you need to turn your hat around.
Oh my God. Who cares about a hat?
And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like you choose to ignore the fact that like, hey, I'm being a role model for these kids and like setting a good example. Like, hey, but then you're going to be like, you got to turn your hat around. I'm not going to tell those kids they got to turn their hat around at all in life.
Right.
But because your father said, turn your hat around. And then everybody at the course said, turn your hat around. Now you feel like you have to. And I go, why? And he goes, well, members could complain. Did they complain? No. Well, then what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
You're just hurt people. Hurt people.
They do.
And that's that sport that's the like idea of golf that we're trying to get out of. Like
Right.
you can wear a backwards hat and fix your divots, fix your ball marks, talk to the person in the cart. It may be a woman. You don't have to hit on them.
Right.
You can treat them with respect.
Right.
And let's grow the game. Let's get women into golf.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really given me like a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to see people come up to me like, love your, I don't even go. I started golfing because of that.
That's so great.
You know, my girlfriend for the past 2 years has been getting into golf. You want to talk about self-worth? It's fucking cool to have her hit a great shot, get cheered on and be like, you're fucking sick, Marissa, you know, and like have her like, be like, I am sick. I am fucking good, you know?
That's awesome.
That's what golf can teach you. Golf can teach you so many things.
Well, there's a bigger lesson in what you're saying here, I think. And that is, if you're passionate about something, there's a way to change the world through that. There really is.
Yes, there is.
There is.
In anything you do.
Exactly. Crocheting. You can do that.
Anything
you do. And isn't that really what we're here to do on this planet? Is to make it a better place? I think.
Well, it depends on if you think life is a simulation and we're just, I mean, that's all.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much here. I'm pretty sure I'm living today. I feel pain. I feel all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd rather not simulate.
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I think for me, you know, legacy is a big thing, right? And I want people to remember, like, oh, Mark taught me how to hit a, you know, that like that. Yeah. So changing the world. You know, I play a lot of video games and I'm streaming it because like I want people that play video games to know that they have someone like them,
exactly. That's
you know?
Another way that you improve or change the world.
And comedy is the best comedy. Vulnerability.
Yep.
You say comics that are vulnerable are the best is because they can change the world because they're showing you their things that you feel too.
Mm-hmm.
The best comics, you see yourself in them.
That's right.
And that only changes. The best thing to change someone's outlook is humor.
I completely agree.
To be able to laugh at something and go, oh,
yes.
You think of it a different way. That's my thing.
I agree. It's changed through levity, right?
Yeah.
I think that I've said this a million times. I think some of the most important people on the planet are comics because you can receive information you wouldn't normally receive.
No.
And if you are open, that information can affect change. and can make you happier, stronger, better, whatever you want if you'll receive it.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
humor is just the best. You're so important as a group of people because your ability, a comic's ability to take a normal situation, sometimes an abnormal situation, and make it normal, an abnormal situation, make it normal,
Exactly.
and take a normal situation and make it universal, right? Is a gift to humanity.
Yeah.
You know? I love watching comics who have different views than I have.
Oh, it's the best.
It's the best because you go, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of awesome. Okay, now I've expanded the way I think about the world.
And I hate, like, not to say that it's like, oh, comedians and civilians. It's like, it's the fact of like what comedy should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think comedy should be able to change your way of thinking through jokes.
Through jokes.
I'm not saying like, dude, I fucking hate the comedians that are just like, they're trying to change the world through their Facebook posts, but their comedy is just fluff. And it's like, well, as a comedian, you should be like interacting with it. Yeah. No, I think as a comedian, your interactions with the world should be through your jokes. So if you have a passion and have this idea of like, yo, this is a thing that I want people to get on, tell a fucking joke about it.
Right.
And change people's minds through humor, not through your rant of a screenshot on Facebook, or you had a note rant and you posted a screenshot of it on Instagram. Like, don't be righteous in your way of life. Be righteous in your jokes.
Right.
You know, let it speak through that.
I agree.
You know?
Art speaks louder than a rant anyway. Art speaks so much louder than, that's like someone who wants to be an advocate or something. And there's places for advocates. And advocates are everywhere. Advocates are in places I don't agree with. That's the beautiful part of being in this country. You can advocate for whatever you want.
Skip Bayless is an advocate for basketball, but Skip Bayless is not a basketball player, you know?
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right.
You know, like.
But those two, yes, exactly.
You gotta like, you know, there's LeBron who is going, you know, he's going to ride for some ideas. And as a comic, I'm going to stand on business on like certain issues, right? But I want to leave it out on the court. Like I want to slam dunk this motherfucker for my issues.
Well, you do. You're really funny.
I'm trying. Thank you.
You do. You're really amazing to watch.
Thank you, LeeAnn.
You're funny and you're fun. And you're engaging.
Yeah.
And you're real.
Yeah, that's what I really appreciate you.
And, you know, the side pony is a little quirky for like regular white boys in the middle of America. And
I'm not good white though.
No, but
I got all of the guilt, none of the privilege.
But you're in front of Bert's audiences who look like Bert, right?
Yes.
And they love you.
Yeah.
And what does that do to a regular white guy in fill in the blank USA who sees someone who, as you described earlier, you look at me and you don't think, hey, he's super smart guy. Now you've given all those people the opportunity to look at someone with a side pony and a stuck up hat and go, oh, I know that guy. I know exactly. Oh, he's a cool guy.
And then maybe you'll see that person.
Exactly. And apply that experience to that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while to see comedy like that. But yeah, you get further and further into this and you see how much a show or someone's performance or a joke can change someone's whole outlook.
It can.
I mean, it's happened to me.
Yes.
I can name like 5 jokes that are like ways of life for me now. You know?
Really?
Yeah. 100%. Like I live my life like on like these things that I like I've heard. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We should wrap it up.
Thank you, LeeAnn. This has been a very fun time.
I have enjoyed it. I'm telling you, Bert, from very early on when you started touring with him, he was like, you and Mark Smalls need to like go to lunch.
That's so funny.
And have a chat.
So funny.
And I was like, okay, I'll go anytime. You know me. I would
always be in like the Zooms with you, and I'd be like in the back, and I'd be like, God damn, she makes a lot of sense.
I have horse sense, as they say.
Yeah.
I got some horse sense.
Damn, she make a lot of sense.
But I'm so glad I finally got to actually sit in it because we're always in a big group, always out on the road.
Yeah.
I've never gotten to
and
talk
then
to
also
you by
like
yourself.
when I'm performing, I am a fucking cunt. I'm the worst.
No, you're not. Not to me.
No, but like beforehand, afterhand, I'm just the worst. Like,
well, you're doing your job.
yeah.
Which is
Just a
focusing
mess,
on
being a
what
mess.
you're supposed to be
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
and not having this conversation with me. I would never expect you to have this conversation with me before you went on stage.
We got into it a little bit.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about trauma.
Yeah,
Have fun telling your jokes later. It's just too hard. No. But I'm so glad we finally got to talk.
Thank you, LeeAnn. This has been so fun.
It has been. I learned a lot from you today.
I learned a lot from you too. I can't wait to call my girl and tell her all the things. You gotta listen to this pod.
Oh no, I'm gonna listen to it again and go, what are those for? Those for
Gotta take the test.
I gotta take the test.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, LeeAnn.
Thank you.